would say this, that the problem of the economic hitman, of course, is real, and this is what has bedeviled Africa since its independence, and if you will, also the diaspora in terms of the Caribbean and Latin America. And we've talked about Haiti, we've talked about Cuba, we've talked about Venezuela and Bolivia and so on. Those are cases in point. And of course, we know the coup against Kwame Nkrumah, CIA involvement, we know the murder of Lumumba, and so many others, the involvement of the jackals.
Mm-hmm.
The solution is not so much an intellectual solution that we need, some genius to tell us what to do, because it's really quite commonsensical. Because I think we've done it as we just mentioned in terms of community development in different places in the diaspora, and we've tried to do it in different places in Africa. The only way in which it can be successful, and if we look at history in terms of the development outside of the Euro-American hemisphere, is in Russia, where Russia had the Iron Curtain, and they excluded all European influence during that period of time when they were developing themselves. They borrowed whatever it was they needed from Europe in terms of their own development, but they didn't allow the Europeans to influence them in any way. And that obviously had to go all the way to the military aspect of it, because that's where the hitmen come in. If you look at China, China had the bamboo curtain. And China was a basket case up to Chiang Kai-shek and all of those people, because they were neoliberals or whatever you want to call them, from the time of the opium dens and so on that the Europeans used to control China with through Chiang Kai-shek and those puppets. And then we had the communist revolution, and they pulled down the bamboo curtain and said, we're not going to deal with you at all. Out of our country, we're not dealing with you. And they could reverse engineer, as the Japanese did, reverse engineer whatever they needed to reverse. And that's the only way they could develop themselves. They had to exclude the economic hitmen. They had to exclude the traitors. I'm sure many of them were assassinated or whatever you want to call it, neutralized. Let's just use that word. I'm sure many who did not go along with the program were neutralized. So at some point in time, you say, and of course, Africa has not gone to this stage, because Africa is not Africa. It's a concept. Africa is 55 countries, So 55 countries can't work in unison unless they are a federated state. So there we are with the problem of African development. It's 55 countries that are held together by African Union Constitution that really says, we're not going to interfere too much in your affairs in terms of what you're doing. If you behave yourself right, you should have constitutional government, but, let's just be good neighbors kind of thing and so on and so forth. You go your way, I'll go my way. Pay a little dues if you will, but of course we know that the AU dues are paid by China or Europe or somebody else. So we do not have this structure of an Africa that my dad wanted, that Kwame Nkrumah wanted. As the Organization of African Unity in 1963 was far short of what Kwame Nkrumah and others, wanted. There was a compromise that was negotiated in Addis and so on, and that's still bedeviling us. The nationalism and the heady wine of a flag and a national anthem. And I guess the ability to loot the national purse in the interests of certain elites. And there we have the corruption and the nepotism, and where's that country where the guy has been in charge for 40 years? Is it Equatorial Guinea or is it Togo or one of those places? I mean, it's ridiculous. But these things exist, and that's our problem at the present
Well said, sir.
time. Well, I think we're kind of, we haven't solved the problem, obviously, and you and I are not going to solve the problem. But I think we've pointed out the problem because, as you're saying that we need a clear economic pathway to do what it is that we need to do with our own resources, and so that we can develop ourselves, certainly at this point in time, sustainably. And again, we have to say sustainably at this point in time because of the climate crisis, etc., which is based on European industrialization and the use of fossil fuels, and it's brought us to this crisis. How do we change all this? Even if we talk about reparations for the damage to us, we have to repair the system. We have to come up with a new system. Europe has to come up with a new system. We have to come up with a new system. And quite frankly, we're in it together. But I'm not sure that that's understood at the present time. I think America and Europe still wants their hegemony, but we are in it together. Any last words?
Well said, sir. Well said. It's a discussion that we need to keep having, because this is, in my opinion, the biggest weakness of the Afrocentric Pan-African thing. What's the model for an independent country to advance when you're up against hitmen and jackals?
Yes, you're right, and that's the test for us in the future. If we don't find that particular solution, we'll be totally looted, and physical resources have a limit. So they can take all the cobalt out of the Congo, or platinum, or diamonds out of South Africa, etc., etc. At some point in time, and we'll be, thrown away. We left it holes in the ground and destroyed our communities. So we have to find that solution. Once again, it's got a great discussion, and we look forward to next time.